Hello,
Hello,
John.
hello. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh man, I'm excited about this show, dude.
Are you?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun one, man.
Let me get my chat set up here.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm running a little late. I
it's all good.
tried to time a Windows update, which I did get into. I
Isn't
did
that a
get.
drag? How Windows just kind of goes,
I
okay.
mean, I could have stopped. I didn't have to do it, but I usually doesn't take that long. And man, I was like,
I've got
man,
mine
it's
set, and
taking a little longer.
I'll come up on my computer, and it'll go. You must restart your computer now if you want your updates, kind of deal. So, anyway,
Right. And now it's telling me, and now it wants to install. It's trying to get me to put on Windows 11. Which I'm not a hurry.
let me say hello to the guys. Nelson, Zach Thong. Let's see. Dale Palmer's here. Mitch, you're here. Paul and Lars. Let's see. Guitar Hack. Hey man, what's up, buddy? This is gonna be a fun one. I have a feeling we're gonna get a lot of comments on this one.
Yeah, I did. Actually, I had some already. If I roll
Oh,
back, let me see. I don't see it now. I think I did see some on the thumbnail when I had it, but my wife commented on it. She goes, "You don't need no more than two, one and a backup."
You know, it's funny because I asked my wife. I told her what the subject was tonight, and you know, I kind of got her response on some stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll make some mention of that as we go. But it's going to be fun, of course. Always got to make it fun.
Let me talk. I want to adjust this. Ouch, this light here.
Let some of the guys get in here as well.
So I got the light bouncing off
Hey, Frank, hey Zach,
Frank C.
Judith. Uh-oh.
Judith, my little sister.
She's gonna get in on this too, I'm sure.
That's not bad. See, I got the light bouncing off the white ceiling.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do have a light in there, so it's pretty even.
Do I need sunglasses tonight to come?
No, I do. I do it to cover up my old, because I'm so freaking old. My bag's underneath my house.
Now, come on. Here we go.
Yeah. How's the audio, guys?
They'll answer us here in just a second, I guess.
Slap a number one in there. My auto audio is good.
The proper aviation term is 5x5.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You ever heard that before? 5x5?
No, 10-4.
10-4 is like, you know, received your transmission, but like
right.
5x5 is like, I guess they go on a scale of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, 1 being the weakest signal and the 5 being the best signal. In other words, you're transmitting good and we're receiving it good. 5x5, yeah. There's Mark. Mark knows what I'm talking about. 5x5.
10-4.
Anyway, so did you do any research on this? Like,
no, it's just well, if you're a guitar player, it's just one more is going to be the answer. It's always going to be just one more.
Yeah, just one more guitar, mama.
I think I have 7 electrics and 1 acoustic.
Well, I fall.
You have about 8 or 9, right?
I fall under the really, really embarrassing category. I don't know how many guitars I own.
Yeah, but you had a good reason.
Yeah, I did.
Mine's
a little bit different than most guitars. Now, if I were just guitar player playing guitar, I'd probably still be eat up with it, but it's all good, man. I'm going to play the pro side tonight. You can be the negative side if you want, and I'll be the pro side. And I'd love to hear all the other guys and their input on how many guitars are enough. So you guys stoke up your creative answers, man, and let's see what we can come up with. So I actually went online and typed in the same subject and got some comments that people were putting, and you know, the worries, and some serious, some of them were just funny, you know, and but very entertaining nonetheless. So
Hey, Mark. Mark Tanner's in,
Yeah.
yeah. But here's a question for you. You probably haven't bought one recently, have you? A guitar?
No, I haven't. However, there's a guitar show this weekend
Oh yeah. But
in
what?
Orlando. They've got a one that's called the Guitar Expo, and I think they have it every year. This year is going to feature Victor Pra, which is a big Les Paul aficionado, and yeah, I always go to the guitar shows if there's one around me within a reasonable, amount of miles, I'll go. You know,
What kind of
just because I like
guitars?
to hang out, I like to look, I like
Yeah.
to, see.
What kind of guitars would be there? Would it be any
Oh,
kind, or
it'll be everything. You'll
I
have
mean,
everything from
low end,
banjos.
and high end?
Oh yeah, low end,
Oh,
high
okay.
end, banjos. Have you ever been to a guitar show before?
No, I never. No.
Oh, they're fun.
No. Mm-mm.
A lot of times you can just carry in your instrument if you want. If you've got some to sell, put one
Mhm.
under each arm and one in each hand, and 4 guitars. Just go in, and sometimes that will get you into a lot of shows at a really reduced, like half off or something like that. If it's a $10 or $12 admittance fee or whatever, they'll drop it to $6. You walk in, they give you all the vendors there. They buy these. It's like a trade show,
Mhm.
and they'll buy all of these booths, and a lot of them are trying to get your business. Of course, they have
Mhm.
several different products out there, from guitar picks to pickups to just hardware. Some vintage dealers, some acoustic dealers, all over the map. And you'll have mom and pop stores that'll have their segments, and then you'll have other guys that have bigger, some of the more robust stores that will have a big display of 30 guitars. And then you got amp dealers, vintage amp dealers, all kinds of things. But they give you a big packet usually when you walk in the door, and it's got magazines and cards and all kinds of coupons, and then you walk around to each booth and kind of drawn in that way. That's the way I always did it. So,
Now, if you're taking a guitar there to sell,
mhm.
is it an okay place to take it to get
Oh
top
yeah,
dollar, or
yeah. I
you
mean,
think
you
you
gotta
get top dollar?
you don't want to go in there with a 60 or $70,000 guitar and just walk around and want to get bopped on the head with it. But yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
for the most part, there's usually some space along the walls, and you'll get 2 or 3 guitar players that know each other,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody will babysit all the guitars in a corner,
Mm-hmm.
while everybody else is out shopping around, and then somebody else will come back and babysit the guitars. But
Mm-hmm.
like me, if I take 3 or 4 guitars, and I know that I want to sell them or whatever, I'll go eyeball what I'm interested in, or whatever, and then I'll keep in mind, okay, I brought my XYZ guitar over here, that I'm going to try to trade it, just like a car dealer or whatever. And you go and you eyeball what you want. You go up to him, ask him the price, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I got something over here in the corner I might want to trade. Are you interested in trading it in? That kind of, they're always open to everything. It's like
Right.
wide open. So,
Or we got the hack is in there, the guitar hack, Bobby
mhm.
Lopes. Bobby Lopes made a beautiful backing track for me. I'm going to play too. I might
Oh,
do it
cool.
tonight. And I can actually play to it. That thing I had in GarageBand, I couldn't get it to sound right, but it was me, not probably setting it up right. But live drums are better than digital drums. It sounds really good.
Well, we got a pretty good crowd tonight. Let's see. I'm going through some of your comments here, and thanks for having me again, Mitch. By the way,
Thanks for
appreciate it.
coming.
Appreciate that. Let's see. No comments, really. Oh, okay, one down your pants. Oh, yeah. Did you see that the other day? Lars is mentioning the guy that probably referring to the guy that went in and stole a guitar, put the
Oh
neck down his pants leg, and then covered the body up with his coat and walked out the door with it. I can't believe it even happened, but
did he get caught yet?
no, I don't know that they caught him yet.
That's
But
horrible.
how hilarious is that? They have it actually on video somewhere on the internet. So
yeah, I saw it.
Frank C, here we go. Guitars are like outfits. You play the next one in the rack based on your mood and style. You need a variety, so you have more than one. And of course, we know that outfits attract girls, and you have to have a lot of different outfits to attract them women, huh? No, just teasing.
Uh,
A lot of howdy doos on there. Appreciate you guys being here, and I'm feeling so much better. You can tell I'm kind of hyped up tonight. First of all, I had my shake. You know, I drink a shake for my diet, and had that, so it zips me up a little bit. But I'm just feeling good because I've been sick for like weeks now, and I'm on the tail end of it, and I can tell. So that really makes me happy. Although my wife has gotten it, but she's not too happy with it. But it's, it passes around. There's nothing you can do about it. Everybody's getting the crud. So
I just have this cough, but other than that, I'm fine. But
yeah.
I just can't get rid of it. I don't know. I think mine's more allergies than anything. Very cold and dry around here.
Yeah.
Getting real cold tonight. Yeah, how cold is it there?
Well, right now, yesterday was the very first time that I turned my heat on.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, it got down to, you really want to know?
Yeah.
It got down to 62. And,
okay.
And so my daughter said she was cold. And so I turned it on 68,
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's teetering, it'll get up to the upper 60s, lower 70s in the daytime. Today's been rainy, so it was like mid 50s, I think, and it's been dropping to like upper 40s, mid 40s in the evening. But a blanket and a good sweatshirt or whatever, and some long we like to lounge around in pajama pants and stuff like that. That's plenty enough for Florida, when it gets cool like this. So
I think today it was hovering around maybe a little above freezing, and it's about 27 right now.
57 today here in South Carolina. Look at there. That's Frank.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wasn't that warm here, but we still got snow on the ground from.
Yeah, I took a picture.
Ago.
I took a picture the other morning. I got up and there was frost on the grass.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get a shot of it. Actually, there was a little frost on the windshield. So
I
know that sounds really, hey. Oh, you guys are freezing your patookies off, but that's why I moved here, man. I didn't want to have to deal with that anymore.
My wife she has her daughters here, grandkids, great grandchildren.
Oh, I get it. And we're going to have a big party here one of these days, and I'll invite everybody out, and we'll have pool party.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. I'd love to do that. Have a big jam session.
That's funny. We were talking about that today, about going to Florida. I don't know. We brought you up. I said, I bet you, John. We all said, I bet you, John.
You bet I would, man.
John would have.
I'd
just
get
knowing you.
I'd get a big place and figure out a good, cheap place for everybody to stay, and that kind of stuff if they wanted to. I'd be way into that. So 90 degrees and rising that's Australia.
Yeah.
Wow,
it's summer there.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Do you want to hear some of the responses that I got?
Sure.
I really only got one serious answer on here. To me, that was a downer, so I didn't put too many of that. But here's some of the responses I found on the internet on the question of how many guitars are enough, kind of thing. And I found this guy that said, "I'm starting to get anxiety, because I've got too many guitars," kind of deal. And when is enough? When is there enough guitars?
Mm-hmm.
And he got all kinds of responses, and here's one of them. This guy says, "Well, I'm a piano player and I have 14 guitars and 3 keyboards."
Was it you?
No, it wasn't me at all.
No.
He said, "I'm a piano player. I have 14 guitars and 3 keyboards." So, but now one guy said, not to be a downer, but the used guitar market is definitely going. It's always worse than when you bought, as they say, unless it's vintage or something like that. So you got to be careful of that, when you're buying, that your guitars are going to be worth what you want out of them when you get done with them. Of course, they're like a used car. You play them, and you know what I mean. You play them, and they've got some wear and tear on them. Blah 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 blah, stuff like that. But Who knows? I mean, we're going to get all kinds of responses out of this, I'm sure. And rightfully so, because there's so many opinions that surround that subject, Before we get too far into that, I think we ought to ask the question of the reason why a person should have uh, multiple guitars. What do you think?
Well, depending on what kind of music you play, I'm just a bedroom player, but I never dreamed that I would ever get an acoustic guitar, and I got this acoustic guitar. I
Right.
can't say it back, about 3 months ago.
Well, that's a good point. Why did
and
you
I'm
get it?
and I'm probably playing that more than anything because it's just right there. Even though all my guitars are on a rack, but that's right there in the corner. I can pick it up.
Right. But
And
there's a reason why you were drawn to buying an acoustic in the first place. What was it?
like finger picking. I hear you do stuff. I hear other people do stuff,
Right.
and it's just you. It's a different type of sound you can get on there. Even you're
Absolutely,
just
man.
playing the open chords and stuff like that.
We've grown accustomed to an acoustic guitar sound, but an acoustic guitar sound to me is not that good of a sound. I mean, there's it can be, but I
Mhm.
mean, resonating wood to me has just never been as good as like an electric guitar sound.
Mhm.
So, because I think you can control an electric guitar and its tone much better, and you're limited in an acoustic guitar sound, but for the same reason you just said,
Mhm.
they do have their place. Country music, there's nothing like that shiny top strings. Have you ever heard of Nashville tuning?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that in the background or panned on left and right. There's nothing like it. That is the quality of that music. So,
Right.
um, okay. So that's the acoustic. One of the reasons for an acoustic. So, what about the electrics? What about those? What would be the reason to have multiple guitars on the electric side to you?
Well, I always wanted a Les Paul. Never had a Les Paul. Well, I had the Paul, which was a low running Les Paul.
Right, I
It was
remember
Gibson,
that.
yeah, and it was a
Mhm.
nice guitar. I got that back in the '80s.
Right,
But I never had a Les Paul. Always wanted a Les Paul,
right.
and then been a Strat guy, but there's nothing that sounds like a Les Paul. Even I have an Epiphone, and of course I had it upgraded with different pickups, but even so, it still does not sound like a Les Paul. It's just got that growl, that sound to it that
Right.
to me you can only get on a Les
I
Paul.
totally agree.
And then I had to get an SG because I never had an SG, which it sounds very similar to
Yeah,
similar to Les
SGs
Paul.
and Les Pauls are definitely similar. There's
Yeah.
going to be people that argue the wood has nothing to do with it. It's all about the pickup and the
Hmm.
electronics. We won't get into any of that type of argument or anything, but I do
Right.
believe, bottom line, tone of any guitar has a valid reason to own it or not. If you take an amplifier and you zero in all of the dials on each volume here, tone here, bass, treble, mid, blah 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 blah, and you don't touch that, and you plug in this guitar and listen to it, unplug that one, go to the next guitar, plug it in, and it's a Les Paul versus a SG. You're going to get a slight difference, maybe not a lot, but you're
Mhm.
going to get a slight difference. But when you do that same thing to a single coil Fender Strat, you're going to get a marked difference in the sound of that instrument because of where, in my opinion, where the type of pickups that are there and the placement of them, the distance, and the angle and all of that makes for difference in tone, not right or wrong, but differences of tone. So, in my opinion, that's one really, really big reason why you would want to have several different instruments.
Right. Right.
So, you
Exactly.
agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I do too.
there's that controversy about wood and makes a difference. There's a guy, and I can't remember his name, Dale Palmer. We were watching a video the other day. So he went out and he bought a kit, one of these guitar kits, and he put he had cheap. He used a cheap pickup somewhere in there, and it was comparing to whatever he had, a Strat or something, and you could hear a big difference. But when he put the exact same pickups in there, even though it was a cheap guitar,
Right.
different wood and everything, it almost sounded exactly the same.
Right.
Yeah. And he was doing all kinds of tests, and then he got where he just put the strings across something, but it was the pickup that it was like 99% of the sound made the.
And I would tend to agree with, probably 90% of that is the reason, however, I guarantee you, if he was going to try to play a lick that Guitar Hack wrote, on this guitar and then switch it out for the cheap guitar, he's not going to be able to do it the same way.
No. Yeah.
Big difference. So that's one of the other reasons why, so you want to get caught up on the chat here?
Yeah, we got, let me see. Hugh Caldwell's in the house. A Blackjack Guitar. Formerly Blackjack Guitar Nut.
Yeah.
Mark Tanner. And Quentin James.
Oh.
Quentin James. Hugh.
You have such a unique relationship with that guy, man.
Oh, he's
his
just
picture in anything.
He's so funny though. Quentin, I mean, if you want to get a laugh, go on, follow Quentin James. I mean, he just
I know he's
some of the funny stuff he puts up, and he'll comment on other YouTube channels, and then he'll record it. He'll go back and record it, the replay or whatever. He'll record that, and put it up on, and it's just it's funny. It's just if you're in a bad mood, watch Quentin James. You'll get in a better mood fast,
right?
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Guitars are like chips, according to Blackjack Guitar. And that's true and correct. I like mine with dip. So
you're mainly just a Les Paul guy, right?
Not necessarily. For years I played a Jackson style. It was actually a Washburn. George Washburn. It had I think 29 or 30 frets on it. It was a scallop back on it, and you could get your hand way up there to the third octave. And
is that what
I
they call
really loved that guitar for a long time.
Is that what they call a baritone guitar?
No, it was just a back when Night Ranger and all those guys were starting to really do those higher up licks and repetitive stuff. That made it really a lot simpler. And Journey, that guy, on the Les Paul, he loves to stretch that E string as high as he can get it. Mm-hmm. And you try to do that on stage, and you're always worried about breaking that E string. So guitars like that, if you had a double coil pickup in them, they get a close enough sound to where, but you don't have to go so far up the neck to get those notes, So I did that for a good while, and it was actually shaped like a Charvel Jackson, the kind of emulated the Strat, the pointed.
I had a lower end
horns, stuff
Jackson.
Like that.
Actually, it was a cheap one, but I liked it actually.
I still have the guitar, as a matter of fact, and I abused it over the years and put some holes in it to put a electronic pickup in it and took it back off and stuff like that. But it was a great guitar for a long, long time. And the pickups, they were EMG pickups. You ever heard of those?
Yeah. Were they passive or?
These were active.
Yeah, I played some.
Floyd Rose Bridge on them.
I wasn't too crazy about them. Not
Mark says, I think I have enough. He's got 30 plus, probably too many, and they've taken over his house. Let's see. Sometimes the guitar arsenal fits a need. This is Frank C. Floyd Rose, acoustic, active pickups, passive pickups, sustainer pickups, travel. Yeah, that's always a big
Frank C had his Frank C, and I can never remember the brand name of it. He has this really top end travel guitar, right? And I was blown away because he used to live around here, and he just moved. But anyway, he brought it over, and I had and it was like a Strat style after you put it together. It was to me it could be a number one guitar. It's how good it was. That's how it played. What was the name of? I forget the name, brand. Sorry, Frank, I can't. I'm old. He'll post it in here.
Hugh Caldwell said, I've got 41 guitars and I don't care.
Yeah, I was wondering who has the most because you probably. I
No,
know
he's got me beat. I'm sure. I don't know
Does he
that I
have you
have over 40. Maybe I do. I don't know. They're not all Les Pauls. There's
right
a
acoustics
lot of
and
junk in there. But
other stuff. Yeah.
I bought I think I told you guys this one time. I went to a trade show, and there was a new guy. He was a luthier. It was
Mhm.
his first year going to this trade show, and I honestly don't think he knew how good he was. He had built a Strat style, and it was just really, really cool. He had these Indian head nickels that were on the top for the tone knobs and the volume knob, and he had brushed steel for the pick guards that were they were destroyed, but they just looked so cool and so rad. Every one of these guitars had a great character to it. And that was when I needed to spend it a little bit. So I just bought them all out, and so I've got like 5 or 6 of those,
Really?
and they're all custom made, and he made every one of them. I'll have to bring them out and show them.
Stewart Guitars. That's the name of that travel guitar that Frank C has.
Which one is
And
it?
Stewart
Stewart.
Guitar.
Okay.
It's a brand name. I
Yeah.
think it's like. I think you deal with the guy. I forget where he's at, out west somewhere, and you tell him what you want. But it was amazing. Hey, Laurie Mishmash is here.
Oh, there's Laurie.
Hey, Laurie.
Okay, so here's a couple more comments that I noticed online. I'll read a few of them. If you think anxiety of having too many guitars is a problem, wait till you sell some of them, and the seller remorse.
Seller remorse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. Hey, Dwight Bailey.
When's the last time you sold a guitar and went, oh, why did I do that? Why did I do
Well, I only sold, since I got back in this in 2015, I actually sold, I had a PRSSE Custom 24 that I sold to Frank C. I not one bit of remorse on there. And I liked that guitar. It was a great playing guitar. And he upgraded, he put better components in there. But I tell you what, now this John Mayer, you had the Silver Sky. Now they come out with this PRS with the Silver Sky SE. So that's all you see online. I did look at a couple videos, and darn, it sounds good to me. You see, I have a Strat. I have a deluxe Strat that I got in 2015, but it's a HSS. But I would like to have one with 3 single coils, and I know that PRSSE Silver Sky sounds really good. To me, it sounds good, but
right.
For the same money, I can get a Mexican made,
right,
made in Mexico Strat. And,
I've been playing guitar for a long time, but I just haven't gotten into, all of that, the makes and the models and all that stuff of the Strat side. I have for the Les Paul. Strats are foreign to me. I own a few. Love how they play. Set them up for me. Necks feel good. All that sound great. But I really never got into the depth of, okay, this one was made in Mexico. This one was a USA Strat. I do have one USA, I think, and I've got one a Mexican. And where was the other place? Did they have make them in China too, or somewhere else?
Oh, anyway, the Squire is the lower end one.
I have no idea
Indonesia
about the specifics of a lot of that stuff like you guys would, but now Les Pauls I can pretty much tell you a little bit about, but I just never got into that. I know the names of pickups and a few. I've got my handful of knowledge that I've picked up over the years.
But you are mainly, you would say, a Les Paul guy more than anything.
I would say I just I love that Les Paul as heavy as they are and all of that.
Do you have anything? You have anything with a Floyd Rose on it?
Les Paul.
Any kind of guitar.
Yeah, I have a couple of guitars with Floyd Rose on them. Yes.
Oh, dude,
and
okay.
Love it.
You do? Okay.
I got to do the I watched videos, way back when, and saw the little that how you can get that I don't know what you call that little flutter sound. And
Joe Wentz is real good on that. The Joe Wentz project. But
and then mine has locking nuts on the back and locking on the top. So I mean, you can especially that 31 fret that I was telling you about, 30 fret that I was telling you about. I could take that guitar, and I'm not kidding you when I tell you this, take that bar and go all the way down to where it's just the strings are just, pull it up perfectly in tune, man. It's
Yeah.
it was a great bridge and saddle and everything, set up. It was perfect. And it just came that way. I really didn't do a lot of work. It does have a way to, to set the intonation. And I did that, I think, but other than that, it's just been a great rig,
Yeah, I have an EVH standard, which is the bottom line EVH guitar, and
Right.
but it plays good. It's got the Floyd Rose. You can only go down on it, which is fine, and it's just a little hard to press. But I just like the way that plays. But I haven't worked out. I didn't play with the bar too much, the Floyd Rose too much to do anything fancy. And then I have my
Excuse me.
my Ibanez Prestige.
Right.
652 RG 652 whatever. I had a device put in there where I can have it floating with like 3 buttons. I can have it floating just to go down or completely locked. So I have it set up now where I just got to press down on it.
Right.
That's a nice guitar, but I just haven't been playing anything much but my acoustic and then maybe the Les Paul.
Lars says all his floating stay in tune.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, the
that's
EVH,
just a good system. That's a really good system,
Well, the EVH, it's a cheaper guitar, but that stays in tune.
Yeah.
And on the, I probably didn't mess with it too much on the Ibanez, but
okay,
I need
more statements from the internet. Here we go. I used to have 10, mostly Stratocasters, sold more. Let's see. And sold more and got down to 3 electric guitars. I'm playing in a band and doing open jams. And man, I wish I had those back. So that's the remorse thing. Another guy said, well, because this was a subject about too many guitars. He said, well, that's the best problem I've ever read about.
Yeah.
Having too many guitars is the best problem.
Yeah, it's a better subject than watching Fox News or CNN. I'll tell you that right now. Fighting each other.
Yeah. This guy says, right now I have 2 acoustics, 2 electrics, and I'm really annoyed with myself. So
I get guilty because I'm not using the ones I haven't been playing lately. And
yeah.
I'm always questioned. Like some of you guys are, you still gig, and then half gig. But I'm just a bedroom player. I have no intention. Even if I got good enough, I have no intentions of playing out in public.
Right.
At my age, it's just too much. But I have fun doing my little stuff in my little room in here. But then again, like I said, I do feel guilty because I don't play them all.
Here's a good one. Okay. I have over 20 guitars and they're all hanging like art around my music room. Yet I can actually interact with them. I do need to cease and desist, but my gosh, I love them. That's a good point. They're like art, and that's kind of where I'm at. I've got a little measure of me that views guitars as art to a certain degree. If it's a beautiful guitar and I have the ability to pull that thing off the wall and pick on it for a song or two in the studio or whatever, that's really cool. That's really cool because I can appreciate it for the instrument that it is hanging on the wall, and then I can also utilize it, So that's kind of cool, man.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that do that, I would think. Do you look at your guitars as anything other than? I mean, they're nice to look at as well, right?
I had to get that Blueberry Burst.
There you go.
And but most real good guitar players, they hate the Blueberry Burst. Look at the reviews online. They hate, well, mainly probably because it's got those dip switches in there for the pickups, and I like it.
Yeah. Frank says he let his Ibanez 540 go with no remorse. I guess he didn't like it. That's good. If it's something that doesn't fit your style, or maybe it doesn't feel good, I've had guitars like that too before, I've had Les Pauls that had the baseball neck on it. I can't play those. I just can't. My hands won't fit around the baseball neck. and it's just uncomfortable. I mean, I can play it, but
none of mine. Yeah, none of mine are
not
like
proficient. It takes your proficiency away, stuff like that.
that.
So yeah, I would dump stuff like that. So, but let's do another one. Let's see here. I find having truly unplayed instruments to be depressing, and I don't want to run a guitar jail. So that's this guy's opinion. So I mean, I can see that. That's an opposing. So don't hang them on the wall and put them in jail. So to speak.
Yeah. None of mine are in the cases. Everything's on a rack. I thought about putting them on a wall, but with my luck, they would fall down. I'll never forget. Everybody knows who Landon Bailey is. He's a YouTuber. He's in Canada.
Yeah.
And I can remember he had a Strat, and he had and it fell through. I can't remember if he called it or not. It fell through the oh my gosh, right on Phil. He had that live.
Hey, you guys be sure and thumbs up us. So there's quite a few of you in here. This is Mitch's channel. We really try to build it up, and subscribe if you haven't. Hit that little bell for sure. Okay, let's see.
Got Ricky Compton. Ricky Compton is in the house.
Who is it?
Hey, Ricky Compton is in the house.
Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Hey, buddy.
Speed for hire.
Never worry about having too many until you don't know how many that you own. That's a good point. That's kind of where I fit. This person said, I sold every stinking one of them. Signed, the ex-wife.
That's got to be that's got to be, what's his name? I forgot his name.
This guy says I have to have one to play rock, one to play blues, one to play metal, one to play acoustically, one to play classically, and top it off with a bass.
There you go.
So there you go. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I haven't mastered how to play any genre yet. So I don't know why I have more than one guitar.
Seldom, but it does happen sometimes. It's seldom, but sometimes I'll be in a recording session and I'll think this guitar don't fit. I know the guitar I want to go get, and I'll go get it and come in and it'll fit the bill. It's rare. Definitely if I'm looking for a single coil versus a double coil or something like that, for sure. If I'm looking for a soft round tone, like a Strat, the Strat round tone on the, on, that fourth divot on the selector switch. That's a good round tone for a sweet song, maybe a ballad with some reverb. You can't get anything like that from a Les Paul. You might be able to get it from like a PRS or another style guitar that's tapped or whatever. But, in rare instances, that's one of the reasons why I would want to have,
Laurie, he Googled it. What you're reading, you Googled online, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
just
Laurie
comments from online.
Laurie was asking where you were getting that information.
Yeah, it's just something I took off the internet.
So. Yeah, I should have done it too. But I'm curious to see what.
No animals were hurt in getting these statements. So anyway,
our little group here, but what they're. I mean, when I got my Strat in 2015, I didn't plan to get any other guitar.
Now let me ask you a question. Here's an important one. When you're on the couch watching TV, laying in bed, do you have one in the living room or in your bedroom?
No, I have to come in here because it's too. I live in a mobile home. It's too. I don't want to disturb Margaret.
But how many people of us? I mean, how many of us that do that? I do.
Oh yeah, a lot of people do it.
I've got a small one in the living room. If I feel like something comes in my head and I want to,
I would do it, but I don't want to disturb her. I would do it. So
that's a good reason to add to your collection, is to have something in the living room or your bedroom. I love laying down late at night and getting, even if it's an electric unplugged, it don't matter. Laying down and just licking, playing licks or coming up with an idea. And sometimes I'll turn on my phone and record what I'm doing, ready to fall asleep. But that's a good, a good thing that I have, so anyway.
Well, Quentin James, he had a good comment. He actually said he would comment, but he might sound snooty. So.
No, don't sound. You can say whatever you want to do in here, right? It's your channel. You can call that shot.
That's an inside joke. I have to tell you that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it.
Okay,
that's funny. Yeah, like I said, I had no intentions of buying more than one guitar. And then I got with this community online with these, so many good people online here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I start looking at these other guitars. Why do I need another guitar? I need to learn how to play the one I have,
Nah, that has
trying to,
nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with
it,
it, in my opinion.
obviously it doesn't.
Well,
It doesn't.
let's clarify. Here's why I say that. What if the guitar that you've got in your hand is stifling you from learning what you're trying to learn? Nice shirt, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It's, everybody go to Guitar Hacks channel, follow
Yeah,
them,
we're
and
shamelessly
buy
promoting
some
a good friend of ours.
merchandise. Some really
But
good merchandise.
but you get my point? How many times have you picked up a guitar, you try to do a certain lick or whatever, it's just not working, and you pick
Well,
up a different guitar, and it's like you're a new guitar player.
with my style, which is very, I'm like a 50-year beginner. That's what I call myself.
That's okay.
And I had a Strat. There's nothing on. I think I play faster on my Strat than I do on any of my other guitars. For some reason, I play sloppy fast on that, and more so than on. But I like
the same thing.
I like the sounds from the other guitars. I just like the way they sound different.
Right, of course. Okay, this is a more serious answer. He said, personally, I love the inspirations I get from each of my guitars. I own about 20. Each one has its own feelings and unique vibrations, and they all resonate with my soul in a different level. And I can attest to that.
Yeah,
I really can.
I brought this up before. I think I might be able to tell, like if somebody gave me, I'm blindfolded, I might be able to tell which guitar I have. Certainly, I could tell if it's between a Strat and a Les Paul.
Right.
But I think I could probably tell because they all have a different feeling. Like the Strat is like so different than the other guitars I play.
Of course.
I hadn't played in a while. I wanted to get it out.
Yep.
And my telly,
Ricky Compton's asking speed. He's asking speed for hire or something. Okay.
Does he have a Jackson King V or a Kelly? Okay. Very good.
All my stuff will be left to my sons and my 2 daughters. I fear that part of it because what's the old joke? I don't want to leave this world with my guitars left behind because then my wife will sell them for what I told her I paid for them.
Oh yeah, instead of that's what I fear because my Les Paul, I know I could probably get more than what I paid for it 3 years ago. Right now,
Johnny Kramer's got 10 on stands in my bedroom, 25 located around somewhere in the closet. Now they're all the devil got them all. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that my preference is always going to be the Les Paul first choice on anything, which limits me in my songwriting. I shouldn't do that, but they just feel good in my hands. I've always played a Les Paul, and there's nothing like that. I remember the first time that I got one and I felt the crunch of that thing on that distortion amp, and there was nothing like it. I could create just about any kind of a feel that I wanted in rock music, of course. And it just felt good, and I've always been attracted to that.
That's another point. You're talking about amps. Now, can you play your Les Paul through different types of amps, and do you get a different sound too? Right?
I've done that. And since we're talking about that, I actually let me see if I can pull this picture up. And because this is a good point, talking about guitars. I mean, there's also people that have multiple amps that they use, and we all know I was in an Eagles tribute for a long time, had the theater and all that crap. But let me see if I can pull up my OBS. See if I can. Let me show you this picture here.
Let me show you.
I think they can see it, can't they? No.
Yeah, but I can get it even bit better. There you
go.
Oh,
okay. There you go. Okay, so look at all those amps behind them. I mean, you've got one. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12. And I went to an Eagles concert. Okay. So not only do they have a stretch of a gazillion guitars, you know, you can take us back to split screen now.
Is this your band or
No. This is the real Eagles. This is the real Eagles.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
But here's my point is that not only did they have a string of right at about 100 guitars, because I remember I saw the tunnel and they have a tunnel that goes up to the stage. On each side of the tunnel, they had a string of guitars that the guitar techs would grab a guitar and take it up. Okay. Now, these guitars had different tunings. They had different, qualities about them. Some were Strats, some were Les Pauls, some were, the lipstick, pickup Telecasters, they're all just several different guitars, acoustics. And then they brought them to these amps, and I would watch them sometimes take one amp and scoot it over, so that the other amp could be heard by the player, but they were all mic'd up. They all had their own mic systems, and they had a stretch of 20 amps on stage. And each one of them, you could tell, were dialed in the way they were supposed to be. So that's another reason that that you might have a variation of amps and guitars, is because look at the recordings or the song you're trying to emulate. What does it require?
Right.
You can't do Purple Rain, which is obviously a Stratocaster.
Right.
You agree?
Yeah, I played that. What did I play it on? I played it with my.
I'm pretty sure it's a Stratocaster.
I played with my Ibanez. Yeah.
It's got to have a single coil sound, from what I remember, anyway.
Yeah.
To try to accomplish that with a Les Paul, you're going to get the notes, of course, but you're not going to get that round sound. Or another one was, I used to do a song called "Do Do Do Da Da Da."
I have to. I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm going to say hi to Lefty Mike is in here, and somebody else was in here. I hit 30. I have not hit 30 people watching my channel, and I don't know how long. It's been a long time.
Oh,
I really,
well, congratulations.
Really congratulations.
Yeah,
really 30, yeah.
Everybody hit that little thumbs up button. And
Spencer Cron is in here. He's a Les Paul guy. Matter of fact, he's got his own channel. You can listen to him, and he's a gigging guitar player. He just had his refretted. He loves his Les Paul. He's a Les Paul guy.
The Les Paul feels like home in my hand.
Lefty Mike
on trips hence though.
Lefty Mike, I saw your comment. You were talking about doing the thing with on the Mac. I could see it when I did checked on when you go and check on like comments on the top right. But when I go to look at the video, I didn't see them on there. I thought you deleted it. Yeah, I use this program, which makes it easier than doing that. Like on the Mac, I guess you're obviously familiar with the Mac. I'm not, but I downloaded this program called Ground Control Cube, and it just lets me share my audio. It took 2 seconds to set up, and I can share it and go live, and it's so much easier than anything I did on Windows. After I did that, yeah. But I did see your comment, but I don't know why I couldn't find it on the comments on the actual video. I don't know. That's weird. Anyhow. Sorry about that, John.
No, you're good, man. It's your channel, and I've been sitting here just
Epiphonium. Spencer Cron's in that house. Lefty Mike. Thanks, guys, for stopping.
He used a Tele on that song. He said, not a Strat. Okay.
Who did?
Zach Thong said Prince used a Tele on that song.
He did use a Tele on it. I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know.
Of course, I wasn't there in the studio, and I don't know.
But real quick, you were talking about like different. I used the Helix, right?
Right.
I had these little practice amps, but I can use them as audio interface. And when I do a recording, you don't know if I'm using $500 amp or a $50 prac. That's how good they sound. Yeah. I have that. Most of you guys are familiar with that Yamaha THR 10X. I still use that. Sometimes I think I get a better sound on there than I do on the Helix. I'm just saying.
Yeah. It depends on there are so many. I've in my recording experience, you can never dial in what you think is going to work 100% of the time. You just can't. You got to be flexible because you might set up a rig for a Les Paul with the Helix and whatever, box, and what this is the patch that this is going to work. You get in there and it sounds like poopy doo compared, with the other tracks that are on there. It just doesn't fit. It does. There's something about it. And then you plug in a cheap guitar and use a different patch, and it sounds beautiful.
Right.
So that happens so many times. You got to be flexible and just kind of tweak as you go.
On my Helix, probably 96% of the time, probably more than that, I use this one patch. Most of the time, and then I'll use some clean stuff, and it's got a lot of stuff in there.
Right.
But I just stick to that one patch. Just like it. Yeah. Now you've played. Now I'm sure you played with tube amps and non-tube amps.
I'm a solid state guy, to be honest with you.
You are a solid state guy.
I'm a solid state guy. Yeah, I've been on pedals in solid state since I started in the mid '80s seriously, and I've went to tubes a couple of times, but I've never really known how to do the tubes. And a lot of people are going to slam me for this, I'm sure. But I like a good rounded, clean amp that I can manipulate stuff to it and get what I want. The best sound that I ever had, Mitch, was when this is going to sound really strange, but it's very true. At least the rhythm sound. And, let's say you're going for a Strat sound or something like that. I had a VG guitar system. You remember those are the Roland VG systems?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. They had a little pickup on them called the GK3, and you screw it to the, somewhere in between the bridge, and some guitars came with them built on, and then it has a multi-pin on it. And then that goes to a VG system. And it's like having a computer, on the floor.
Okay.
And it's also set up, if you get two pedals that communicate via MIDI, then if you press bank number 1, patch number 1, 2, 3, then the same thing's going to happen on the second pedal board that you have.
Right.
So you can actually use two different pedal boards, only hit the pedals of one of them, and the other one changes with you. Okay.
Okay.
So let's say I'd go to bank 1 and patch number 1 was a clean sound. On the VG system, I would set up like a 12-string sound and send it to an amp over on this side of the stage, okay, on the other side of the drummer.
Okay.
And then I would have another amp on this side of the drummer, and it was like a clean custom amp. Volumes were always balanced, tones were pretty much always balanced, but I would do this all ahead of time, okay? You would not believe the sound I got out of sending one signal to this side. And it's not like having a stereo chorus where you get two amps and they're going really wide. It's not the same thing, because each one of them are stereo in their own right. Of course, I didn't run them stereo. I could have, but I would just send the mono signal over here to this side on this amp and the other mono signal to this amp. And man, the width that I got was unstinking believable to be able to do a 12-string and a rounded Stratocaster sound together and listen to what that sounded like. It was like no other guitar I'd ever played before. And it was, and then I would go to a dirty sound and I would set the VG system to sound like a Les Paul, because you could do that. You can choose the amp, you can choose the guitar, you can choose the crunch, all that stuff within the VG system.
Okay.
So even if I was playing a Stratocaster, I could get a Les Paul sound out of it. And then I would send that to this amp, and then, of course, send a Stratocaster distorted sound to this amp. And it was just a great mix every time I did it. I mean, I did some gigs that way, man. It was really, really, really cool to do that. So,
Frank, you can read that. You probably did that a lot. I imagine you had some of your guitars set up if you were doing different tunings.
Right.
and you would switch to that guitar, you know, when you're
Right.
depending on what song you were doing.
Okay, Frank C's bringing up a good point, you know, about different tunings. You
Right.
know,
That's what I yeah.
in our show, in our CCR show that we were doing, always needed to have drop D tuning,
Hmm.
and the they had the baritone sound. So I think it was a step and a half down from normal tuning that they did sometimes, especially like on Midnight Special or something like that. We would even have to put, you know, 12s on a certain guitar and
Hmm.
then tune it down. You can do it electronically, but it's not as fun if you unless you have a guitar that's set up that way. And we did that. So that's another reason, you know, to have a plethora of guitars behind you on stage, you know. So
Now, since you did you have any preference, like what brand amps you used, or
well, I've you know, I discovered one time a custom amp that was had a
hmm
I believe it had two 12s in it. It may have
hmm
two 10s in it, but it was a little old tuck and roll. I bought it at some pawn shop sometime, and they were either Jensen or JBLs that were in there, and they were back when they were being manufactured, I believe, in Oklahoma, maybe
yeah, I had a custom amp one time. I did
a tuck and roll.
215 inch, and it had a real clean sound. 215
Right.
inch JBLs,
Yeah,
but it
I
was
have two of
clean,
the
but nothing else was good out of it other than clean sound.
now I have two of the 100s, you know, that
Hmm.
they're in storage right now, but two of the tuck and roll 100s where it's got the separate head and then a double, you know, double speaker cabinet. They're, I want to say two 12s are in each one of those. So, but back then I was, we were doing club gigs. And so I loved the sound of that double 12 custom amp. I could have any floor pedal at that time. I was using the Boss GT10,
Hmm.
and I could get any sound that I wanted with delay and chorus and reverbs and all that. I could get any and develop it ahead of time and then take it to the gig, set the volume levels, you know, the way I wanted them for that night, and off I went. And I always used about maybe four patches, usually two banks of four patches. So
Hmm.
maybe 8 patches total, depending on what we were playing, you know. Some songs that, you know, they had that out, 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 you know, something like that. I would set up a special patch for that. And I know that that's on like bank 2 over here, you know, and when I needed it for like Superstition by, you know, whatever, you know, or a
Right.
funk tune, I would go to that patch. Or there was one that had a good rotary sound. And so I would, you know, go to that patch, stuff like that. But yeah, that was my setup for a long, long, long time. And I just got hooked, you know. So
But you got a good sound without having to get a tube amp.
yes, I
Yeah,
did.
I mean, you were satisfied with the sound.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I heard all. I guess everything I heard on your old videos, they were all
Of course,
nothing was.
my, you know, ignorance is bliss sometimes, you know. I probably could have gotten better sounds if I had better knowledge about tubes and stuff. And
Hmm.
some guys would probably argue that and say, "Oh man, you should check out the tube, man. It's nothing like having a Marshall." Blah 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 blah.
Right, right,
I was always so blown off the stage by anybody that owned a Marshall
right,
stack.
right, right.
I mean, they just ripped my ears off, you know, and so I was never a fan of that. I just too
Yeah,
loud for me, you know, too
I
loud for a club gig, you know.
I can remember seeing AC/DC in 1987, I think it was 86, and we were sitting pretty close to them, and it's just my ears are still ringing. So I still think it's the best concert I ever went to, but it was so loud. I don't even know what they used, but they had stacks. I guess they were Marshalls. I don't know, but it was tremendously loud. My ears were ringing for like this. You know, how many years ago was that? 40.
Yeah.
It's still ringing today. Yeah, it was a great concert though.
But anyway, yeah, I mean that was my rig for so long, and I, you know, of course, I was doing small club gigs. You know,
Hmm.
the bigger venues that we would do, I would just mic that up, you know,
Right.
and we would sometimes we would bring out the fake stuff to make it look big,
Hmm.
but we were only miking the, you know, that little amp or something, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So I would act like we had a stack of Marshalls over here, a 2-stack set of Marshalls for guitar, but they They were turned on, but they weren't hooked up.
I do everything. I always have headsets because I don't want, you
Yeah.
know, if I don't want to disturb Margaret.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
if she goes out, I could turn on because I have a Boss Katana 100,
Yeah.
and I can use that USB as an audio interface, and it's got some nice software. I haven't had that turned on in probably 2 years, you know, but I just use, like, say, my Helix and I've been, examining the software in GarageBand. It's got some good guitar plugins in there. I'm still experimenting with that, but so I don't even know what it's like. I mean, I know some of these purists in our, where we hang out at, they really like the tube amps,
Right.
But at this stage of the game,
well, we've made our hour. Isn't that good?
Yeah. I want to, I'd appreciate it. And I always said, I don't want to go over more than an hour. People tend to get bored, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Although it was anything but boring, if you ask me. I thought it was really good. And I had, like I said, I haven't had 30. I can't remember when I had 30. I did hit 31. I did see it one time. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll come up with something next week, something to talk about, something interesting. Like I'm going to probably do another thing on the Mac again. I'm trying to learn GarageBand, but
Blackjack said that Andy Summer played a Roland amp system. I love the Roland amp stuff. There's nothing like it. The JC 112, I think it was called, or JC 120s or something. Yeah, they same thing. So
right.
Anyway.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
And we'll come up with something next week.
Well, thanks for having me again.
Well, I appreciate you coming. I mean, I don't want you to put you on the spot, and all.
No, not at all. If I'm available, I'll be here, man.
Yeah, so. I appreciate it. All right, guys, hold on, John. Don't go anywhere. Have a good time. I don't even know what day it is anymore. Tuesday.
Today's
Have
Tuesday.
a good rest of the week, and y'all take care now. See you guys.
Bye-bye, everybody.